Welcome to the Labels Don't Define Us podcast, a place where we talk about life beyond mental health labels and discover stories of hope, courage, and authenticity. I'm your host, Sarah, and today we're exploring something that affects so many people quietly: the idea of success when living with depression. What does it mean to be successful when just getting out of bed feels like a battle? How do we measure progress when the world's version of achievement doesn't always match what we're capable of on a given day? Today's episode is called Redefining Success with Depression, and we're going to challenge what success really means. We'll also share inspiring stories of people who've built full, beautiful lives, even while living with chronic depression.
Depression and the pressure to be successful. Before we talk about hope, healing, and new definitions of success, let's take a moment to talk honestly about the problem itself. Because the truth is, depression is not just sadness. It's not a mood that passes after a good night's sleep or a walk outside. It's a real, biological, psychological, and emotional condition that can change how we see the entire world, and especially how we see ourselves. People with depression often describe feeling like they're moving through mud. Everything takes more effort than it should. The simplest things like brushing your teeth, replying to a text, or cooking a meal can feel overwhelming. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of willpower. It's exhaustion, physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion. The brain in depression literally slows down areas responsible for motivation and reward. The neurotransmitters that help us feel pleasure, satisfaction, or excitement, like serotonin and dopamine, don't work in the same way. That means even achievements that used to bring joy, like finishing a project, getting good feedback, meeting a goal, might suddenly feel empty.
How depression changes our sense of worth. Now, imagine living in a world that constantly tells you your value is based on productivity, success, and constant self-improvement. Messages like, work harder, hustle more. If you're not growing, you're failing. When your mind is fighting depression, those messages can feel like knives. You start believing that because you're not producing, achieving, or keeping up, you're not enough. That's what so many people with depression tell me, that their illness makes them feel invisible, left behind, or broken in a world that rewards energy and performance. One listener named Liam shared his experience in an email. He said, "Every morning, I'd wake up and scroll through social media. Everyone seemed to be achieving something: new jobs, weddings, travels, perfect homes. I could barely shower. I started believing I was a failure. But what I didn't realize was that getting through that morning was actually success. I just didn't have the words for it yet." That's such a powerful insight, because what we call failure when depressed is often survival, and that's not small. The invisible nature of depression. One of the hardest parts of depression is that it's often invisible. People look fine from the outside. They go to work, take care of kids, show up for friends, while quietly battling overwhelming sadness or emptiness inside. That invisibility can make it harder for others to understand. Friends might say things like, "You just need to think positive," or "try going out more." But depression isn't fixed by positive thinking. It's managed through compassion, connection,
and often professional help. When people don't understand that, those living with depression can feel even more alone. In fact, research shows that 2/3 of people with depression don't seek help, partly because they're afraid of being judged, and partly because they don't recognize that what they're feeling isn't their fault. The emotional toll of constant comparison. Let's talk about comparison, something that makes depression even heavier. We live in a culture that constantly celebrates more. More productivity, more followers, more achievements, more smiles. But when you're struggling just to make it through the day, that kind of environment can make you feel like you're falling behind, even if you're doing your absolute best. Social media doesn't help. Studies from the University of Pennsylvania show that heavy social media use can increase depressive symptoms, especially because it creates a distorted reality where everyone else looks happier and more successful. What we forget is that people only show the highlights, not the breakdowns, not the quiet tears, not the days spent in bed trying to find a reason to get up. So when we talk about redefining success, we're really talking about rewriting the rules. Instead of asking, am I doing enough? We can start asking, am I caring for myself in the ways I can today? Instead of chasing the idea of normal, we can honor our pace, the pace of healing, which is slow but real. And most importantly, we can remember that living with depression isn't a lack of success. It's an act of courage. Every single day you choose to stay, to try again, to reach out, that's strength. The truth is, depression changes how we see the world. But with support, understanding, and time, it doesn't have to control the story. You can still have love, joy, creativity, purpose, and peace, even in the middle of it. And that's the heart of this episode, that you are already succeeding simply by showing up. Challenging society's version of success. In our culture, success is often measured by productivity, wealth, career titles, or constant activity. But for people living with depression, that kind of definition can feel impossible and even cruel. Depression can drain energy, focus, and motivation. Tasks that seem small to others, like brushing your teeth, replying to an email, or showing up to work, can feel like climbing a mountain. According to the World Health Organization, more than 280 million people worldwide live with depression. That's nearly 1 in every 20 adults. But most of them are still going to work, raising families, caring for loved ones, and showing up in quiet, powerful ways that often go unnoticed. Maybe that's the version of success we should celebrate. Showing up anyway, even when it's hard. Redefining what success looks like. One thing I've learned from talking with people in this community is that success doesn't have to be loud. It can be gentle, steady, and deeply personal. Success might mean getting dressed and stepping outside for the first time in days, sending that one important email, reaching out for therapy or support, saying no when you need rest. Those moments are victories, real ones. I once spoke to a woman named Caroline who struggled with chronic depression for over 10 years. She told me that she used to feel like a failure because she couldn't hold a full-time job. But then she began to write poetry at home, small pieces that helped her process emotions. Over time, her poems were published online, and other people started saying how much her words helped them. Caroline told me, "I realized my purpose wasn't about climbing a corporate ladder. It was about connecting with people. And that counts as success." Her story is a reminder that success can look like healing, honesty, or creativity. The power of small wins and self-kindness. When you're living with depression, celebrating small wins isn't optional, it's survival. A study from Harvard Business Review found that acknowledging small progress moments, even tiny ones, increases motivation and long-term achievement. For people with depression, recognizing these wins literally helps rewire the brain toward hope. So if you've showered today, cooked a meal, or simply kept breathing through a difficult morning, that's progress. Self-kindness, or self-compassion, is another key piece. Dr. Kristen Neff, a leading researcher in this field, has shown that people who practice self-compassion have lower levels of anxiety and depression. It's not about self-pity, it's about giving yourself the same grace you'd give a friend who's struggling. Stories of resilience and hope. I want to share a story that always warms my heart. There's a couple, James and Alicia, who both live with depression. For years, they tried to fix each other, thinking that love meant saving the other person. But eventually, they learned that love isn't about fixing, it's about understanding. They started a ritual called 2 Good Things. Every night, no matter how bad the day was, they'd each share 2 good things that happened, even small ones. Some nights it was, "We made dinner," or "The dog wagged his tail." Other nights it was, "We made it through the day." Over time, they noticed those moments added up. They built a life filled with compassion instead of perfection. Alicia once said, "We stopped chasing happiness and started building peace." That's such a beautiful truth, that joy doesn't have to be loud or constant. Sometimes it's quiet and found in the stillness between storms. Facts about depression and healing. Here are a few hopeful facts about depression that might surprise you. Treatment works. About 80% of people who seek treatment for depression see improvement, according to the American Psychiatric Association. Therapy and medication combinations are the most effective for long-term recovery. Lifestyle factors like consistent sleep, sunlight, physical movement, and connection can reduce symptoms by up to 50%. Depression doesn't mean you're broken. It means your brain and body are signaling that something needs care. There's hope, there's healing, and you're not alone. Thank you so much for joining me today on Labels Don't Define Us. If today's episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who might need to hear this message. You never know whose day you could brighten. And remember, no matter where you are in your journey, you are more than your diagnosis. Thank you for listening to the Labels Don't Define Us podcast. Until next time, take care of your heart and celebrate every small victory.